Hey folks, how you doing? This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show, live right here for the 29th of January, 2014. How y'all doing today? I got a lot to get into in the hour that we have. So, let me tell you that I have been watching, just watching the posts about the president's speech last night. And let me tell you something. I didn't see it. I'm being totally transparent with you, being totally honest. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear him talk. I want to see him in jail. I want to see him in prison. That's where I want to see him, because he's violated the Constitution for the 5.5 years that he's been in office. Or 5 years that he's been in office. And I've said it before. And if I'm wrong, I hope I am wrong. But I would say that by either prior or just shortly after the midterm elections, he's going to suspend the Constitution and implement martial law. He's slowly putting the puzzle pieces together to do that at this point. But I think, and I hope I'm wrong about this, I think that he's going to take and do one more little thing within his little frame of politics, along with a major false flag event, and he will suspend the Constitution. It's either going to be just shortly before or just shortly after the midterm elections. And even that, and I hope I'm wrong, even in that, it all depends on who is replaced in Washington, D.C. during these midterm elections. But then again, reality check number one, it doesn't matter who's up there. Those offices, even the office of the president, is bought and paid for. It's not who earns your vote anymore. It's these politicians who have been bought and paid for, and the offices have been bought and paid for by the biggest contributors to both parties. Okay? I mean, that's just the way it is. And a lot of people hate the fact that I say stuff like that, but it's true. It's absolutely true. Okay? Now, I want to give you reality checks today based on the last 5 years of this president. A lot of people may not like what I say, but you know what? That's your problem. That's your problem. If you can't see the facts behind the truth, and if you can't see what's going on behind the scenes right now, you're blind. He's setting up a he's bringing communism to the United States of America, period. That is why he needs to be brought up on charges of violation of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America, period. Now, there is good news, and I'll share that after the break. Right now, I shall return after this message. What is reality? The foundation of reality is based on many concepts. Each person perceives reality differently. In the book, The Grid by Marie D. Jones and Larry Flaxman, they explore the hidden infrastructure of reality. Get your copy today at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com. The Grid by Marie D. Jones and Larry Flaxman. Folks, I'm back. Thank you very much for joining me. This is the Wayne S. Spear Show right here for the 29th of January, 2014. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you listening to me on all points all over the United States. On the internet at freeamericaradio.us. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Some good news. I'm going to give you some reality checks today. I already gave you one in the first 5 minutes. But check this out. Some good news coming out of Egypt. Egypt charges 20 journalists with conspiracy. David Kirkpatrick over there at New York Times. Thank you, David. Egyptian prosecutors said on Wednesday that they were charging 20 journalists working for the Al Jazeera television network with conspiring with a terrorist group and broadcasting false images of, quote, a civil war that raises alarms about the state's collapse, unquote. The charges are the latest turn in the widening clampdown on public dissent by the military-backed government that ousted President Mohammed Morsi of the Muslim Brotherhood 6 months ago. The government has outlawed the Brotherhood, declared it a terrorist organization, jailed its leaders, and killed more than 1,000 of its supporters in the streets. Foreign Ministry and State Information Service officials say they cannot be certain whether merely publishing an interview with a Brotherhood representative may now be a crime. Al Jazeera, a satellite news channel owned by the Emirate of Qatar, is virtually the only major Arabic language outlet available in Egypt that is sympathetic to the Brotherhood and critical of the new government. After the ouster of Mr. Morsi, security forces moved quickly to shut down most of other Egyptian news media outlets aligned with him and the Brotherhood, and the remaining privately owned newspapers and broadcasters in Egypt have also cheered for the government's bloody crackdown on the Islamists. Al Jazeera was the notable exception, and it has been the target of an escalating campaign by the government, which has closed down the network's newsrooms in the country and denounced the network as a terrorist tool. The prosecutor's statement on Wednesday describing the charges against the 20 journalists accused them of manipulating video footage, quote, to produce unreal scenes to suggest abroad that what is happening in the country is a civil war that raises alarms about the state's collapse, unquote. The statement said the defendants had broadcast the images all over Al Jazeera, quote, to assist the terrorist group, unquote, the Brotherhood, quote, in achieving its purpose by influencing international public opinion, unquote. 16 of the 20 defendants are Egyptians. They were charged with, quote, joining a terrorist group, unquote, with the purpose of, quote, damaging national security and social peace, unquote. The 4 foreigners, 2 British and 1 Australian and 1 Dutch, were charged with collaborating with the Egyptian defendants, in part by providing money, equipment, and information. The statement appears to say that all of the defendants were also charged with, quote, possession of documents and recordings promoting the group, unquote, and with operating communications equipment without a permit. If convicted, each of the defendants could be sentenced to several years in prison. The prosecutor said that the 8 of the 20 defendants were in custody and the rest were fugitives. They did not announce the defendants' names. The authorities have been holding 5 Al Jazeera journalists without charge, at least 3 of them since late December, and at least 1 since August. But it is unclear who the other 3 defendants are. The Committee to Protect Journalists says that there are 3 other journalists in jail awaiting charges, but they are not believed to work for Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera has said its employees were honest journalists doing their jobs. One of the detained journalists, Abdullah El-Shami, is now on the 10th day of a hunger strike to protest his incarceration, according to his brother Mossab el-Shami. Abdullah el-Shami has been held since August 20th. Another of the detainees is Mohammed Fahmy, an Egyptian-Canadian producer of Al Jazeera's English-language news network, who formerly worked as a producer for CNN and contributed freelance reporting to the New York Times. His family and colleagues say that he has been held in solitary confinement and has been denied treatment for a shoulder, there we go, that's what I'm looking for, injury he sustained before his arrest. Peter Grest, an Australian journalist who formerly worked for the BBC, was detained along with Mr. Fahmy. In a letter smuggled out of the prison and published on Al Jazeera website, Mr. Gress said that he and Mr. Fahmy worried that they might face criminal penalties for meeting with Brotherhood representatives, but that they felt a journalistic responsibility to hear both sides of the story. Quote, "How do you accurately, fairly report on Egyptians' ongoing political struggle without talking to everyone involved?" Unquote. Mr. Greste wrote in the letter, quote, "I worried about this at the time with Mohammed Fahmy, but we decided that the choice was obvious as the price we are now paying for making it," unquote. What's that tell you, folks? What does that tell you? The prosecutor in the case is saying that Al Jazeera is a tool of the terrorists, of the Muslim Brotherhood. Folks, can we put two and two together? Can we put two and two together? Well, of course we can. For those that don't know, it's four. The Muslim Brotherhood now have invaded the White House. Go look it up. Prominent positions in the Department of Homeland Security and other prominent positions in the White House are held by members proclaiming they are Muslim Brotherhood. I don't know what else to tell you. I really, really don't. Norway just kicked out the Muslims. Good. Kick them out. That's the way I look at it. But some people might say, well, that's racist. That's prejudice. No, it's not. You've already got a group of Muslim Brotherhood members that are saying that they want to wipe out Americans everywhere. You've got a group in there that say that. Well, that starts going around to the different groups. You've got terrorist organizations backed by the Muslim Brotherhood blowing people up in other countries. I don't want to hear it anymore. Here's what America needs to do. And when I say America, I'm talking you and I, folks. The citizens here that stand on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America prior to 1871. We need to take these radical Muslims and kick their asses out of here. Period. End of sentence. We need to go to the White House and demand that the president step down, that the vice president step down, that the Speaker of the House step down, that the minority and majority leaders step down, and that the Attorney General step down. Revolutions never started with asking the leaders to step down. Revolutions started when people have had enough and go and take matters into their own hands and do what has to be done. I'm not calling on a violent upheaval in America. I'm calling for a peaceful resolution to a tyrannical situation. And if they, the government, wants to come after us and wants to come and do something against us, we the people, then we have the obligation and duty to rebel against a tyrannical government. Period. That's transparency for you, folks. No one is going to get onto the state-run media and say what I just said. You might hear people like Alex Jones get on and get up in Piers Morgan's face. You might see Ann Coulter do the same thing. Well, Piers Morgan just said that There were these shooters in these schools all have been under 25. Well, why don't we make it illegal for anybody under 25 to get a firearm? Why don't we go to Atlanta, Georgia, or wherever the hell Piers Morgan is at, probably New York? Why don't we go into that studio, grab his ass up, and deport his ass? Because people do not have the balls to stand up to anything that is coming up against them. And oh my goodness, you're going to say I'm racist. No, I'm not. I have friends from every race, creed, and religion you can think of. And guess what? They're behind me on this one. And besides, logic plays a great deal in this. Somebody comes to your door and knocks on your door and stands there and says, oh, my car broke down, and then pushes their way into your house and starts bullying you and beating you up and all. You're not going to put up with that crap. And that's what this crap is happening from Washington, D.C. We need to stop it. We need to stop it now. Yes, I'm angry, folks. Wouldn't you be? After the little scenario I just gave you, somebody coming into your house and no. Let me calm down and give you this. Let me go here. Okay? I really believe that there are some very, very good-hearted people in America. I believe it. I know there are. But I also have a feeling that they don't have the balls to stand up and do what's right. Oh, they'll talk a good game. They'll debate you every which way possible. They'll sit down and present their side of their argument all day long. But they won't get up and do anything about it. They won't get up and do anything about it. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. I challenge each and every single one of you online radio commentators and hosts. Well, that includes you, Mr. Glenn Beck and Mr. Alex Jones. I challenge each and every one of you to do what has to be done. And if that is sitting down and writing a letter or going to your city council meetings or whatever, or emailing your senators and all of this, you know what? You're doing your part. Thank you. But there's going to come a time when you're going to have to get out in the streets and show your true colors. I know I know there are men who will do that. I can name them on one hand. But are you going to do that? Are you going to take the Constitution prior to 1871, not the Corporation of the United States, the Constitution of the United States? Are you going to take the Constitution prior to 1871, go to your city council meeting, put it on the table, and tell your city council members, if you are not following this, the rule of law of the Constitution of the United States of America prior to 1871, if your position has been bought and paid for by the elites or the corporations, if you do not do what we the people instruct you to do, then we demand each and every one of you resign immediately. I find it incredibly odd that the people who sit back and scream and yell and jump up and down and say, what has to be done and think this, and they're out, they I'm not saying they don't all just sit back and do nothing. They're out there. But it takes boldness, and it takes a sense within yourself to know what is right and to say, you know what, this can't continue the way it is. Hell, I know people who are animal activists that have more guts than most of the people I know who fight the New World Order and defend their liberties and freedoms. But do you? Have you gotten so dumbed down that you can no longer find it in your heart or gather it in your gut to step up to the plate and to do what's right? Give me a minute or so and I shall return.
Sarasota's home for R&B and soul. The Razorblade Express with Dave the Rave.
Get your morning started with the Morning Brew on 92.6 The Blitz. Music from the 60s, 70s, and more. The Blitz 92.6. Go to radiorocktheblitz.blogspot.com. Hey folks, welcome back. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show for the 29th of January 2014. Now before you all start going off and yelling and screaming and getting all angry and pissed off and all of that and accusing me of being racist, as I said, I got friends from every race, creed, and religion that you can think of. I'm not racist. I'm not prejudiced. You know why? Because I believe that no matter what color you are, where your heart is, what your political affiliations are, what your religious affiliations are, it doesn't matter to me. You know why? Because you're a human being. You're a human being living in a society that is so corrupt that they have literally, the government, this government of the United States of America, which I cannot even comply with any of their unconstitutional laws, will tell you and dumb you down to the point of suppressing you and tell you that everything is going to be all right. You just have to follow us. So before you go off screaming to high heaven that I'm one of those conspiracy theory kooks and I'm racist and all this, you better check your attitude at the door. You better look at yourself in the mirror, in your eyes, into your soul, and ask yourself, you know what? I might be racist. You might look at yourself and say that. You might have to look at yourself and admit that you're prejudiced. Do you know why? It's real simple. Because I don't line up with your thoughts. I don't line up with your perspective. I don't line up with your point of view. But you know what? That's okay. Because you will always contradict me and tell me I'm wrong. Or anybody else for that matter. But do you have the right answers? No, no one does. I'm not always right and I'm not always wrong. Neither are you. So you better think about it before you start, lodging accusations at people. And remember, we're all human beings. Think about that one. We have a huge problem in this country. Huge. Massive problem in this country. Apathy. What? Yeah, what is that word? Is that a $3 college word that people do not understand? Apathy. A-path-Y. Apathy. Okay? And that apathy is going to get you arrested. That apathy is going to make you a target. Hell, folks, I'm already a target. With as much as I've said in the last 2 years on the Views Express Live, do you think I'm not on a watch list? Do you think I'm not on a list somewhere with the NSA or the FBI? Oh, hell. If I wasn't, I think I was doing something wrong. Not only are you a target for being apathetic, but you're also fodder. Cud. You see a cow chewing? Yeah, he's chewing his cud. You know what that is? Regurgitated stuff from the gut. Okay? Am I wrong on that, farmers? Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. Let me know if I was wrong on that one. But you know what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. You're going to get picked up. You're going to get picked up. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm talking to the far left liberals and the right wing radicals of both the conservative and liberal ideologies, the Democratic and Republican parties. You're both going to get picked up. If you're so apathetic that you don't know what's going on, and you have no empathy for your fellow man, and guess where you're going to go? Breaking news. TellMeNow.com. Secret FEMA death camps already at your location near you. As Obama's administration continues to creep closer and closer to tyranny, one could only imagine how far he'd go before Americans start to revolt. That's exactly what they want, folks. They want you to start the Civil War so they can clamp down and take and suspend the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and implement martial law. They want you to start the war. Guess what? I'm not. And I suggest to every American patriot out there, former and current military, not to pull the trigger, please. That's what they want you to do. Do not give them what they want. Wait till they pull the trigger. Oh, they will. Because they're too damn apathetic. They're too damn arrogant and conceited to think that they are the only ones that have your best interest at heart and can tell you where to go, what to do, when to do it, why to do it, and how to do it. And guess what? They are wrong. So do not pull the trigger. Wait till they jump the gun. And believe me, they will. Continuing. Lucky for Obama, he's already begun plans to contain the situation, allowing him to progress with his agenda with as little resistance as possible through the use of FEMA camps. Told you, folks, right there. Told you. Yes, I'm upset, aren't you? Let me go to my Zen happy place. Continuing, we all know Obama is working all hours of the day to try to disarm as much of the population as possible. And although he claims it is in the name of the American He claims it in the name of American safety. Many U.S. citizens know otherwise. But if it were to come to the point where Americans needed to be suppressed in order for the preservation of Obama's reign to prevail, what would he do? Obama has recently discussed his new proposal of prolonged detention. And that isn't based off of a crime you have already committed. In fact, Obama explains that he intends to incarcerate until he sees fit anyone that poses a threat to America and may potentially commit a crime in the future. Pre-crime technology already set up in Chicago, San Francisco, New York, other places as well. Go look it up. Pre-crime technology. No, it's not just in Minority Report with Tom Cruise. Go look it up. Continuing, as liberal activists fight to have Gitmo shut down, Obama has taken advantage of the time to inform the American public of these indefinite detention centers. Our commander-in-chief, more like dictator-in-chief, explains that these centers will be placed for all Guantanamo Bay prisoners that are too dangerous to let go and still remain a threat to our nation. He goes on to mention that anyone else that is captured is in this preemptive nature will also be housed here. In the case of a revolt, how many Americans do you think he will be deemed a threat to the United States of America and indefinitely detained? Where would Obama store all these people? Enter FEMA camps. Obama has ordered the secret construction of FEMA camps all over the country, and he's told his minions to do it as quietly as possible. Folks, let me interject this. Who's going to run these places? Go check out Kellogg, Brown, and Root. They are now contracted with the federal government through the Department of Homeland Security to run these FEMA camps. You don't believe me? Go check it out. Continuing, these FEMA camps may have the appearance of a helpful establishment placed there in the preparation for a time of need, i.e. natural disasters. But look a little closer and you may see otherwise. Let me interject this. A couple of months ago, Chinese military landed in Hawaii. We now have foreign military under UN control on the soil of the United States of America. Do you see the preemptive strike that he has laid out through the military-industrial complex against you and I? If you can't, you are blind as a freaking bat. Continuing, all FEMA facilities have several layers of fencing, all of which, for some mysterious reason, have barbed wire at the top pointing toward the inside of the fence. Why would you want to keep people you're helping in? Along with this, electronically operated turnstiles guard the only entrances into the gated sections. Cameras can also be seen watching closely over the supposed abandoned sites, and windsocks have been placed anticipating the arrival of helicopters. Check out the example below. I will take this link if I can, and I will put this on Free America Radio on Facebook. FEMA camps are popping up in extremely inconspicuous places, an abandoned train yard, extra space on airport property, or even industrial complexes. Want to see where the closest one is located near you? There you go. Let me see if I can get the address on this. Doesn't seem like I can. There we go. If I can work this stupid phone. There we go. I got to tell you, folks, this is going up on Free America Radio on Facebook. Go check it out as soon as my phone gives me well, let me just share the article. It was already on Facebook. I was there. Let me share it on Free America Radio on Facebook. Please go check it out, folks. And for all you liberals that say you're in the middle, I'm going to say this. And I'm going to put this out here because, I seriously think that you need to hear all this. You people are wrong. You always have been, you always will be. And if all you care about is your Dancing with the Stars or any type of stupid reality show, then you need your head examined. As a matter of fact, pull it out of your ass first. You just might be able to breathe, okay? Look around. Now, I know I have friends of mine who are quote-unquote liberal, that are quote-unquote more in the middle, but let me tell you something right now, friends. You don't know jack. You don't want to know any of this. That is why you close your eyes. That is why you, put your fingers in your ears. La, 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 la. Let me tell you something. Take your fingers out of your ears and start listening to what's going on, because we're right and you're wrong. That's to all my liberal friends, quote unquote, who are quote unquote in the middle. You people absolutely don't know what you're doing. You never have, and you never will. And by listening to me, you're probably saying, well, No. I've had it with people. You either are going to wake up, or you're going to be hauled off to a FEMA camp near you. And there it is, on Free America Radio, on Facebook. Secret FEMA death camps already at a location near you. That's from govtslaves.info. Government, short for government, govt, slaves.info. Go check it out. It's right there on the Free America Radio on Facebook. Let's immediately fire every member of Congress who applauded when Obama said he will do whatever he can without legislation. After all, they admitted they're irrelevant. I'm going to go to the Spreaker side of things, into the chat, and say hello to TNN Radio. Go check out his show, TNN Radio, right there on Spreaker or whatever website he puts up in the chat room so I can tell you where to go. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you very much. President Obama made it clear in his State of the Union address last night that he would ignore Congress and use 32 executive actions to implement programs he feels necessary to improve the economy. In the Wall Street Journal, Senator Ted Cruz reacts to the President of the United States' reliance on EOs, executive orders, and bypassing the legislative branch. Okay? He says, Ted Cruz says, quote, the president's state of the for unilateral action to circumvent Congress should concern every citizen, regardless of party or ideology. In other words, let me say that again. Unilateral action. Do you know what that means, folks? Ruling by edict. He's a dictator. Ted Cruz says rule of law doesn't simply mean that the society has laws. Dictatorships are often characterized by an abundance of laws. Rather, rule of law means that we are a nation ruled by laws, not men. That no one, and especially not the president, is above the law. For that reason, the U.S. Constitution imposes on every president the express duty to, quote, take care that the laws be faithfully executed, unquote. Yet, rather than honor his duty, President Obama has openly defied it by repeatedly suspending, delaying, and waiving portions of the law he is charged to enforce, unquote. I don't know what else to tell you, folks. He's a dictator. That's it. Bottom line, you people need to wake up. That's just the way it is. You folks need to wake up. You know? I don't know what else to tell you. I honestly don't. You people have absolutely positively been deceived. Oh, don't get me wrong. You want transparency? In 2008, I saw an opportunity for this country to be greater than it was under other presidents prior to President Obama. I unfortunately, and I say that now, but looking at the opportunities that you and I have, I thought he was the best shot, because who else was running? Kerry, whoever else. I forget who was running in 2008. Plus, I didn't know enough about this man to even understand where he came from. 6 months after he was voted in as president, 6 months after his residence was, after he took up resident at the White House, I found out tons of stuff about this criminal. I didn't vote for him in 2012. I know people that have said, even Pete Santilli on his show admitted that he voted for Obama. And guess what? Wouldn't vote for him again. He's a damn dictator. Go read Brian Keller's book at Amazon.com. Go read his book, Dictator in Chief. Go check it out. He wrote that book before President Obama ran in 2012 or 2008? Go check it out. I don't know what else to tell you, folks. I really, 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 really don't know. Honestly. I honestly don't know what to tell you. I shall return.
Misfit is a misfit.
Samo.
Ignorant of hygiene, destructive, disorderly, and totally disrespectful.
It's the 5:15 with Samo on Samo Radio.
AM 1700 Daytona Beach, Holly Hill.
And SouthNet 1.
With her unique, fast-paced, witty sarcasm, Angel Clark brings you the news of the day with a creative twist. Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern on RadioFreedom.us. You can also listen to her live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Did you know that the first Matrix was designed to be a perfect human world where none suffered, where everyone would be happy? And it was a disaster. No one would accept the program. Entire crops were lost. Some believed that we lacked the programming language to describe your perfect world, but I believe that as a species, human beings define their reality through misery and suffering. So the perfect world was a dream that your primitive cerebrum kept trying to wake up from. Which is why the Matrix was redesigned to this, the peak of your civilization.
Hey folks, how you doing? This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show right here for the 29th of January 2014. Welcome back. Check out the Views Express live, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right there on Spreaker.com or freeamericaradio.us. Thank you very much. Now that I've calmed down and went to my happy place, I feel better now. Took the last 40 minutes, 2 segments to vent, really. Well, let me tell you something. If you're not as pissed off as I am about what's going on, folks, I don't know what to tell you. I really, really don't, because I see things a little bit differently than most people. And I look at it this way. If you cannot open your mind to the possibilities that you could be wrong and then look at the situations around you and see them for what they truly are, you need a crash course in what you need to understand about collapsing governments and history and the Roman Empire and the Egyptian Empire and the Japanese Empire and the Chinese Empire. You need to know that these types of political foundations, I would say it's just literally what it is: communism, fascism, Marxism, you name it. You need to understand that they're not going to last. The only thing that lasts, the only thing that stands, the only thing that works is liberty and freedom. I've read articles and seen interviews with people from other countries coming here saying the only reason why they left their country of origin was because America is free. And over in other countries, they can't do that, even though hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions, are fighting their government, fighting their politicians to have a free and liberated society like the United States of America. But guess what? We hear about those people. The military-industrial complex hears about those people. The elites hear about those people and takes the American military or the UN over to those countries and occupies them and suppresses them because the elites don't want freedom and liberty for the people. They don't want you and I to think beyond their little controlled box. Well, I got news for the elites. Your days are numbered. Your days are numbered. And I guarantee you, when you start eating your own, your days are numbered. I mean, I'm scanning through Facebook right now, and I know that a lot of people are going to say, well, if you see it on the internet, it must be true. No, that's why I do my homework. This one person wrote here, I just made this about the idiots. This Jeff Woods on Facebook. He says, I just made this about the idiots in Congress who clap like a bunch of trained seals for a man who just told them he would bypass them and they aren't needed anymore. And it's a meme on a picture of the members of Congress saying a bunch of idiots giving a standing ovation to a man who just told them they aren't needed anymore. Go figure. Bottom line is, folks, we've been duped. We have been duped, period. We have been lied to. We have been lied to. Okay? What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Anything? Here's how twisted our laws truly are, folks. From everlasting GOP stoppers on Facebook. In the United States, a marijuana smoker gets arrested 1 every 37 seconds. A Wall Street banker once every never. We have to change that law. We have to look at Iceland as being the example as to what to do to take back a country. Now, honestly, Iceland's not that big. 300, 400,000 people at the most. We have 300 million, and over 80% of them are pissed off at this government. And when I say government, I'm talking Washington, D.C., you take 250 million people and you storm the walls of the kingdom, of the castle. You climb those walls. You use trebuchets. You use all sorts of tools. And you take care of what has to be taken care of. Revolution doesn't start with giving the leaders an ultimatum. You don't look at the leaders and say, either change or we will take you out. No, no, no. revolution starts with going to the castle and saying, Your Highness, we now will not comply with any unconstitutional laws, and we demand your resignation now. And what would happen if he doesn't resign? Revolution number 2. It was a small group of people back in 1773 that stood together and came up with this idea of telling King George at the time, screw you, we don't like being taxed for tea anymore. We're done. They used some other little clandestine things to get people all pissed off and rallied and all this, that, and the other thing, right? But they got the job done. And it was only 3% of the British colonists prior to the United States of America. 3%, folks, that beat back the British Army. We now have 300 million people in America right now. 75 to 80% of them are pissed off. And most of them are armed. And we will defend this country, and we will defend the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America from enemies, foreign and domestic. We have foreign troops on our soil under the command of the UN. We have, well, let's just say, biological androids that are for this president, that will stand beside this president. But we have over 70-80% of the law enforcement and military in this country that are on the side of we the people. Folks, who do you think is going to win? I am not calling for a violent upheaval. I am calling for a peaceful civil disobedience towards the laws that are coming out right now from Washington, D.C. They are unconstitutional and serve no purpose except to drive this country into a divided sectors where you and I would be fighting one another. Well, we can't do that. We must do what we must do and take responsibility for our actions prior, during, and after the revolution. But in the meantime, we have to understand that civil disobedience and peaceful protests are happening all over the United States and are making their point. Some people say, no, they're not making their point. Yes, they are. Because we're pushing this into the propaganda machines of the state-run media where they have no choice but to look at it. And of course, you already know that they're going to spin it and say, oh, it's the right wing, it's the Republicans, it's the Tea Party, it's this, it's that. They're going to spin it to make it look bad, but it really isn't. We have the obligation and the duty to defend the nation against a tyrannical government. It would be better to do it with civil disobedience and peaceful protesting. I recommend that. But when the powers that be and the elites begin to send their military out against us, then we have no other obligation other than defending ourselves, our families, our cities, our counties, and our states from the army of the tyrants from Washington, D.C. Hell, a man in Oregon had, 13 million gallons or something like, I don't know what it was. It was a lot of water that he had captured to use as, water for his farm, for for the surrounding area. And he was arrested. You had a mother, a wife in Michigan who was arrested for having a vegetable garden in her front yard. You have Farmington Hills and other cities around the United States with cameras. Go look up IntelliStreets. Cameras, video monitors, microphones that record, speakers that can tell you, hey, don't stand there, that kind of stuff. Folks, we are not living in the United States of America anymore that you and I grew up in. We are in the Orwellian society that George Orwell talked about in 1984. Wake the hell up now! I'm done with stupid people. I am done with people who say, well, nothing's really that bad. I'm done with people who say, well, I'm a liberal and I'm in the middle and I don't like what he does and I may not like, but, hey, it's just the way it is. I got friends on all sides. I have friends who are Democrats who love this president. I got friends who are Republicans who love this president. Don't know why, but I've also got friends who are in the middle. And let me tell you something. They don't like this president, never have, and never will. And I've got some of those friends in the middle who say, well, it's just that way. And I have friends of mine who say, I don't want to talk politics because, people get really excited and really pissed off. And I want to have a good day. I want my day to go by really well. I don't want to have a really bad day. Oh. Okay. You don't want to have a bad day? Good. Stay in your little tiny cubicle in your little tiny apartment. Turn on your TV, some music, and just let everything outside of your apartment go to hell in a handbasket. And when the Department of Homeland Security come knocking on your door with the Federal Protective Services, Homeland Security Police, take you away to a FEMA camp and put you in a little room with other people, then I think you'll get my point. It's incredibly odd that people cannot see through the bull crap that this president, this dictator, is spewing out. Now, either change the way you look at things and look at the truth and the facts, or pack your bags and stay in your little cubicle and lock the doors and close the curtains. And I don't care if you're in the middle saying everything's fine and you don't like this guy and, whatever. I'm not going to take your excuses anymore for the lack of intelligence you have about the issues that are going on around you. I'm not going to do it anymore. You're either going to listen, you're going to learn, you're going to change things for your life and for the lives of those around you, or the next step in your parade is wiping your feet off on a welcome mat at a FEMA camp near you. Come join me on the Views Express live today at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. FreeAmericaRadio.us. Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. Talk to you later.